Hello? You again? What? 85.5% of my viewers are not subscribers? Ugh, that's even worse than last time. Wait, what can fix that? Viewers just need to click the subscribe button below the video or the skull in the bottom right hand corner? Well, that sounds easy enough. Are you sure it will work? Alright, well I'll tell them. This is the Garden of English. I'm Tim Freitas, and I'm here to help you. Whether you're a new viewer or a returning one, you should click that subscribe button so that you never miss any Garden of English advice. It will help you now, and it will help you in college. I want you to take some time for just a minute and reflect with me. And I need you to be honest with yourself. Does the world revolve around you? Now, if you're feeling really truthful, you should have probably just answered no. And that's obvious because the world revolves around me. Nah, I'm just kidding. But in all seriousness, if you're watching this video, chances are you know the world doesn't revolve around you. And you know that there's a vast world full of other people that surround you. This, of course, means that there are innumerable varieties of other people's perspectives and positions that others take about topics that you are often required to consider, especially when writing arguments. Well, when you write a synthesis essay, argument essay, or any type of research paper, one of the ways to make sure that your writing is more persuasive and sophisticated is by addressing the positions and perspectives that others may hold. When you incorporate and respond to the positions of others in your own work, this is called addressing the counterargument. Now, there are three ways to do this. You can concede a position, you can offer a rebuttal to a position, and you can refute a position. Today, I'm going to offer you some tips for including concessions when writing your argument and synthesis essays. And if you're specifically looking for more information about rebuttals and refutations, you could check out Unit 9 of the Garden of English's exam prep guide for AP Lang students. There's a link to it right here, and there's a link in the description right below this video. This prep guide offers exclusive videos and practice that will walk you through all of the content that you need to know to earn a high grade in your AP Lang class and score well on your AP Lang exam. And if you just sign up for the free trial, you'll have access to all of the Unit 1 videos, notes guides, multiple choice practice, answer guides, and multiple choice rationales. Now, before we could talk about adding a concession paragraph into one of your papers, you need to know what a concession is. To concede a point in an argument just means that you're going to admit that someone who holds a different position than you about whatever topic you're talking about might actually be correct. To an extent, you're not entirely convinced of the other side's position, but by conceding, you're willing to admit that there is some complexity and nuance in arguing about the topic that's being debated. And you're willing to show that you are seemingly understanding and empathetic toward the positions and perspectives of the other side. So now that you know what a concession is, let me tell you that they are some of the hardest paragraphs to write. The reason why is because so often when students attempt to, they end up just arguing how the other position is entirely correct, rather than only partly correct. And then when the students continue their papers attempting to argue their own initial positions, they thoroughly interrupt their own lines of reasoning since they made the initial claims, proved those claims wrong, and then tried to prove those claims right again.
Make up your mind.
Essentially, the papers read like giant contradictions. The thesis says one thing, the ill-written, well-intentioned concession paragraph says another, and then the following paragraph supports the initial thesis. The whole thing is a mess. You don't want to be a mess. So let me show you how to clean this up.
Thank you.
In order to model how to write a solid concession into an argument, I'm going to rely on the publicly released 2010 AP Lang synthesis prompt about educational technology. I'm also going to be relying on an essay produced by a former student of mine named Ali Anama. She was an excellent student and an even more awesome person. Though the model work will be in relation to a synthesis prompt, I can assure you that you can use the same tips to generate concessions in response to argument prompts as well.
I guarantee it.
The 2010 prompt asks students to develop their positions on what factors a school should consider before using particular technologies in the curriculum and instruction. Now, a student could just respond to this prompt by writing that a school should consider A, B, and C when considering using educational tech in their school system. It's a simple thesis, and I think there's plenty more that could be done, but this thesis would do the trick to earn the thesis point on exam day. But this thesis does not introduce a line of reasoning that sets up the paper to include a concession. So I'm going to show Allie's thesis that does establish a concessionary line of reasoning, and then I'm going to highlight what she did when writing it so you can model your writing after hers. Okay, check out her thesis in response to what schools should consider before implementing EdTech into their curriculum. Allie writes, while computers and other information technologies may have the potential to be extremely useful in a classroom setting due to their ability to increase accessibility and foster communication, school administrators must consider the negative effects educational technologies may have on students with short attention spans and on the quality of face-to-face interactions, because such tech isn't really all that it's cracked up to be. Here's what you need to notice about her thesis. Allie starts her thesis with the subordinating conjunction while. This is important for two reasons. First, a subordinating conjunction establishes what is called a dependent clause. This means that there's one part of the sentence that relies on the second part of the sentence to make sense. Because of this, the first clause in her sentence, from the words while through communication, is automatically not as strong as the second clause in her sentence. That's from school administrators through the end of the sentence. So, just the structure of her thesis makes the concessionary part of the sentence seem less important than her actual claim that technology is more detrimental for education than beneficial. If you're trying to write a concessionary thesis, you will want to start your thesis with the word while, the word although, or the phrase even though. Now, I also need you to notice how in the first clause she uses the phrase have the potential, and in the second clause of the thesis she uses the word must. Even though the thesis concedes a point to the other side, Allie qualifies the opposing observation as only being potentially useful. Yet she contrasts this by strengthening her own position by speaking about it in absolute terms. This highlights how convicted she is about her own view that she wants to support throughout the majority of her paper. The thesis also projects that the first paragraph of the essay will concede how technology can be useful because it increases accessibility and fosters communication, but those positive outcomes are not more important to consider than how detrimental technology can be.
We have technology.
Once the writer concedes, she'll need to prove that her considerations overrule the truth that tech can be somewhat beneficial. So let's see how Allie does this in her first body paragraph that I'm about to show you on your screen. When this paragraph pops up, make sure you pause the screen so you can read the paragraph in full. Also know, though, that I have Allie's complete essay in the video document found right below this video in the description. And it's next to the link to Revyze, which is a study app that you need to check out because it provides short video content to help you with your SATs, AP exams, college admissions, and it even connects you with a community of others to help you study for these exams. Alright, here's Allie's first body paragraph where she actually concedes. The first reason this concessionary paragraph works so well is because Allie includes some concessionary language in the topic sentence. Notice how she remarks, it's easy for just about anyone to admit, and she follows this with the point that she wishes to concede. And the truth is that even I know that it's easy to admit that computers do increase accessibility and communication. She then goes on to prove this true by seamlessly including evidence to support, well, the truth of her point. She also cites that evidence. As she concedes, she even provides proper reasoning for how the evidence that she provided supports the claim that she's conceding. But she doesn't stop there.
Nope.
Most students, when they try to write a concessionary paragraph, stop there, but you don't want to. What Allie does next is absolutely necessary and important when writing a concessionary paragraph. You need to notice how she included the word however in her commentary to show that though she recognizes the merit of the other side's argument,
I understand.
there's something that the argument misses. This is where the concession now begins to shift to expose what Allie views as the limitation of the truth to the other side's argument. And she does a decent job reasoning out why, though the other side is correct, it's only correct in a limited manner. And she doesn't stop there. Notice how in the last sentence she continues to set up a contrast between the opposing view and her own when she uses the phrase even though. And she ties her observations in this paragraph to the very beginning of her next paragraph's topic sentence, which will be about the other consequences of introducing technology into education. Let me show you what her next topic sentence looks like. It's about to pop up on your screen. Often, when children's lives continue to be consumed by technology, there is a significantly greater potential for their cognitive processing abilities to decrease. The third body paragraph also details another negative consequence, and the topic sentence for that paragraph looks like this. Similarly, the more time children spend using technology, the more the quality of their personal interactions with others decreases. I encourage you to read her whole essay that's linked in the description. It's really solid. But it's the thesis and first paragraph that I wanted to point out to you all. She sets up the line of reasoning in her thesis to include a concession. She includes concessionary language in her first topic sentence. She highlights the limitations of the argument she's conceding by including the word however and the phrase even though in the commentary of her body paragraph. And she then uses her final sentence of her first body paragraph to shift towards bolstering the actual argument that she projected in her thesis. Now, there are some other words and phrases that you can include in your papers when you want to concede, so I'm going to share them with you on the screen. Here are some words and phrases that you can put in your topic sentences to help you begin the concessionary process. And here are some words that you can include in your commentary when shifting from conceding to arguing your point. If you want to learn more about writing concessions, I'd encourage you to check out the new AMSCO textbook for writing for the AP English Language exam. It goes into even more detail, and this text covers synthesis, rhetorical analysis, and argument. You could check out this text since it's also linked in the description. Now that you've seen a model for a concession and I've provided you with some tips, you need to practice writing concession paragraphs so that you can increase the complexity of your research papers, your synthesis essays, and your arguments as you go through your academic career. And after you practice, you can check out more ways to add sophistication to your writing by watching the videos that are about to pop up right on your screen.